Hello, welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons. I am Fergus. I am your host. I'm joined by our producer, Mike, Scotty. Mike, how you doing?
Mike, all right, how are you doing?
Good, mate. Mike's going to be joining in the debate and also helping out with some of the comments and stuff that we've got in running in along the side. We have got Corey. Corey, we can see you again. I love your lighting. So yeah, and we got the Fro.
Evening.
Jerome, we're very, very, very. Are you going on stage afterwards? And
No, the kids won't let me.
drop a beat, man. Drop a beat.
Halloween only.
So yeah, welcome Jerome, welcome Corey, welcome Mike. We are expecting Trevor, depending if he can get his phone in his hand. First of all, never mind anything else. He's been traveling from England to Athens since 10 o'clock this morning. He's obviously had to go through passport control, which means probably Stansted Airport, the Windmill, Wetherspoons, and he's been in the pub most of the day. He has messaged me only about a half hour ago, going, "Yeah, man, I'll be there. I'm coming on." But we'll see what we get from Trevor. He will join us, I'm sure, shortly. And we also have James Rowe. James is just doing some stuff on something else he's doing for his work as well. He's going to jump on and have a chat with us about Arsenal and about European football and some of the stuff that he's done as well. So, guys, Storm Dennis. Oh, that was horrendous. That was absolutely horrendous. Oh, hang on. Forget about Storm Dennis. Storm Trevor. Storm Trevor has just hit. How are we, Trevor?
I'm very well, thank you, gentlemen. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, Jesus, we can understand you as well.
Yeah, listen, I'm in a nice quiet bar in Piraeus. I've only had a few, so unlucky, boys. I'm not going to get too messy. And Rebecca Greenwood is fibbing. There. God, I look awful.
Oh, yeah. Trev, you must. No, I'm saying nothing. I'm saying nothing. Listen, you say you looked awful. The Newcastle game in Storm Dennis, it was horrendous weather and everything else that we talked about.
Mate, I saw your video. That wasn't a storm. That was a drizzle.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I was dressed up like I was in the RNLI.
Mate, that was pitiful. That was pitiful. You had it all on video. You were saying, "Oh, it's really cold. It's raining." I was like, "What? You having a laugh?"
Listen, forget about the weather. What about the game, boys? I told you 4-0. I told you someone was going to get beaten, didn't I?
You did. You did.
Yeah.
But even at half time, though, Trev, look at that. Let's break the game into two halves, as that's what they do normally, anyway. The first half, it was pretty dire, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, massively.
Oh no, I disagree. Newcastle played all right, and we didn't play at our best. But when you win a game 4-0, you don't think about a dire first half. You think about, we didn't play at our best first half, and we absolutely hammered them second half. That's all.
But
listen, boys, if we have that many bad first halves for the rest of the season and that many good second halves, who's going to be unhappy? I won't be.
Do me a favour. Just cut him. He's drunk. Just cut him.
What, Mike? Your thoughts on the first half of the game, rather than keep on going on about his prediction. Go on, first half of the game.
First half of the game was dire, wasn't it? It was so boring. It was so uninspiring. It was just it just had everything that we didn't want from a game, and that was the thing. And obviously, we'll go into the second half now. Obviously, turn around then. But first half, it was terrible. It really was. I don't think either team really played to the best in the first half. It was awful.
Corey, anything to add?
No, I agree. And I think that's something that needs to be looked into, because we've had quite a few bad first halves going back to Emery's era. And we're kind of scratching our heads. We've asked the question before, why is it that we start so slow? Why is it that we can't come out the blocks a bit better than we have? And it's something that does need to be addressed. So as much as we obviously all enjoy the second half, I think we do need to kind of analyse what's going wrong in the first half of matches. Why do they always need that kick up the arse at half time?
Jerome?
That was exactly where I was going. I can't understand why we don't start the way we are in the second half, in the first half. You know, to be honest, we see teams normally start really well and then dip down. So it bugs me that we can't start a game and dominate from the first minute.
Do you not think it might be a tactic by Arteta? Because so far, Trev, I got you on mute for the minute just because it's noisy in the background. But you can take yourself off when you want to talk, but anytime. Do you not think it might be a tactic by Arteta to build up slowly and at least hold a defensive line and build up and then catch them? But since Arteta, we're 8 games unbeaten. But we've played 8 games, but really and truly, we've only played 4 games because we've only played for 45 minutes on every game that we've played so far. Trev, come on, you're jumping in.
No, I wasn't jumping in. I just didn't realise I could mute and unmute myself. I've learned something new tonight. I'm not grasping what the issue is with a poor first half performance. I don't care. If we win a game 4-0, the first half is gone to me. You know, honestly, I'm just very pleased with Arteta. But having said that, I'm just going to stick something else in there for a minute. At this stage of Emery's career, I was very pleased with Emery. So let's stop. I'm not setting my sights too high, you know. We'll see how we go. But yeah, I don't care if we have bad half hours, if we have bad 20 minutes, if we're under pressure for 60 minutes of a game. I don't care. As long as it's managed and we come out with a result, which we have done on Saturday, I'm happy. I look at it differently, you know.
James, thank you for joining us. We're just you haven't missed anything at all because we were talking about the first half against Newcastle.
Okay. Good evening, fellas. I'm sorry for coming a little bit late. One of my interviews with a player was rearranged, so thank you for your patience.
Who were you interviewing?
I was interviewing Keon Daniel, who's been capped by Trinidad and Tobago and is now currently playing in Poland. And he was in a team meeting, so we asked if we could rearrange. For those who don't know, I've been interviewing professional players and managers for around about the last 3.5 years now. And there's been some quite interesting names in there, like the likes of Viv Anderson and Danny Cowley and Bob Wilson. So we're
gonna touch on some of those afterwards. So once we finish the Newcastle game, I want to listen to a little bit about, especially the Viv Anderson one, and then we'll look at the game that Trevor's out in Athens for. So the second half. Okay, in the second half, we had Eddie and Kessie. Well, the lineup, first of all, was slightly unusual in the sense that we all saw that Eddie started over Lacazette. I actually was pleased that Lacazette was on the bench, and I think it was good to see Eddie playing. And in the second half, he was very, very unlucky when he hit the bar. Corey, what did you make of Eddie's performance so far in that game? It's his first ever Premier League start for Arsenal.
Yeah, he was lively. He was all right. It's what, the type of performance I expect from Eddie. Like you said, he was unlucky with a couple of chances. So it was cool, but I think me and Jerome talked about this in our group chat. I do like Eddie, but I don't expect to see Eddie starting up top when Aubameyang and Martinelli are fit. We had Kolasinac, so I don't know how ready he is to play a full 90 minutes, but we have to remember that Saka is actually a left winger, not a left back, so he's an option on the left side as well. So we're not short of options there. So unless we are, I don't really want to see Eddie up top when Aubameyang's fit. Okay.
Pepe, he had a really good game, I thought, and I thought he was quite lively. He had a couple of assists. Jerome, his assist for Aubameyang's opener at 1-0. What did you make of that?
I love it. I've been a fan of the guy from the beginning. You know that. I feel without him, we're not the same team, and I think it showed a lot more. He's getting to form, and it showed a lot more yesterday. Sorry, Sunday, and I feel like he's opening up. He's doing what we wanted to see. Finally, we're going to get the form, and I think we're getting it.
Mike, what were your thoughts on Pepe's performance?
If it weren't for Saka playing the way he played on Sunday, I think it's a man of the match performance for me. That definitely.
Agreed.
One assist, one goal. Can't argue with that at all. Or is it two assists, one goal?
2 assists, yeah, 2 assists.
Yeah, 2 assists, yeah.
James, you're the professional, as I say, journalist or sports person. What was your view on Pepe, and then also if you can touch on a bit on Saka as well?
Well, I think Saka has been a real highlight and a real find for me this season. I was at the Sheffield United game back in January, and he was the best player on the pitch. So such youthful exuberance and such a great talent. And as regards to Pepe, I was very pleased that he managed to make an impact. Similar to what he did when he played against Manchester United in January. I think he's very much a confidence player, and where once his confidence is up, it's really up. And obviously with the hefty price tag, which he can't really do much about, but it's important that he's playing. And it was a much needed win, because we really did need a win with 3 points. And hopefully we can now kick on and go into a good run of form for the upcoming fixtures.
And you know what I think as well is he's now about 6 months into his career at Arsenal and 6 months into his career at the Premier League, and he's come from the French league, so it's always going to be difficult for any player to come from a league like Ligue 1 to come into the Premier League and step up. He does need a lot of time. He needs time on the ball before he gets that pace. But I think Arteta, I think he mentioned in an interview around the Dubai winter break, and he actually mentioned that Arteta has changed his game. Arteta has helped him. I know some of that is spin, some of that is talk, but I think he is growing into the role. Richard Butler puts up a comment in the chat, and he talks about Saint Maximin and Maximum or Maximin or whatever his name is. I thought he had a fantastic game, and he's such a big, powerful player. And I think if Steve Bruce was a bit more clever and put him through the middle, which he did towards the end, he even became a bigger threat. And he was unlucky on the 63rd minute. He was brushed off so easily. He brushed off Bellerin, who just got spun round in a circle and just became Bellerin of old. And then he hits the post. Jerome, what do you make of Maximum?
He looks all right, but then if we wanted a player that has no end product, we're going back to Gervinho, a strong Gervinho. Fine, then that's what we're going to go and buy. Or we're going backwards. That doesn't make sense. So for me, he's all right, but we'd be going backwards signing anyone like that. He had a decent opportunity. How many players get decent opportunities against any club? Happens. It's football. But I wouldn't take him.
For people on the audio, Jerome was sitting here with a microphone held in his hand, like mic check. And I've just dropped the mic because Richard Butler's comment was, I'd rather have Saint Maximin, and you've just blown him out of the water. I'm sorry. That was an excellent comment.
Sorry, buddy.
And he smiled when he said it.
I won't be sorry for that, mate. That was a great comment, and I agree with you. That was a great comment. Like we said, how many goals and assists did he get in the game?
Yeah.
How many did Pepe get?
Pepe got 2, and Pepe is a proper winger, and that's what we've been crying out for, a winger. We got Pepe, we got Saka, we got Martinelli, we got so many prospects that we have in this team, and going forward, as long as Arteta is supported, I think the future's bright, the future's red and white. Guys, the goal that we got to talk about is the team goal. Mike, I'll come to you, then I'll go to Corey. You can talk about it. The team goal, Pepe to Lacazette and Ozil, 35 passes. Every player on the team touched the ball. The most passes for a Premier League goal this season. Mike, do you want to go first and talk about it? What was your thoughts, and how did you feel about Ozil getting the goal?
Well, I think what is it? I was texting a few other people that I know who are all Arsenal fans as well. And I think my first words, it had to be Ozil to get that goal, didn't it? Had to be Ozil after everything. He had a good game, but I think, to be fair, I think he overshadowed, for me, he overshadowed Ceballos in that game. Or there was making out that he was actually had an amazing game that game. I didn't think he was that great. I thought he was okay, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think it was his best game I've ever seen him play. And because of everyone hyping up Ozil in that game, I think that overshadowed the way Ceballos was playing. And Ceballos, for me, was outstanding. From 30 minutes in, I think he found his form in the game, and he was unlocking. He could literally, I think he could pass the ball on a 5-pence piece. I really could. The way his passing range is unbelievable, and it just showed it in that game there. And that's the thing that's really done for me for Ozil. So that's what I'm trying to get at there, I suppose, in that sort of sense. Is I think he overshadowed Ceballos. Well, he didn't overshadow him. It's the pundits and other people I've heard talking about him. They've overshadowed the fact of how Ceballos played, where I thought he was a lot better. And
but Ceballos,
I know he's only a loanee.
Yeah, but Ceballos has only had 2 good performances for us because he's either been injured or average. Well,
exactly, and he's come back. He's come back in. This is the first game in how long since his injury? He never got in under. This is the first game under Arteta, and he's played like that. And for me, that's something there. There's definitely something in him. He's definitely got the skill and the talent there.
Yeah.
To say that, and Ozil's been playing every game under Arteta, and this is the first time we've seen him play half decent. So, and that's what bothers me about that. And obviously, like I say, when it comes back to what I said about had to be Ozil to get that goal.
No, and I get that. Corey, your thoughts on that goal? Because like people were waxing lyrical on how fantastic. You'll see on Guns and Yellow Ribbons Facebook thing. I recorded afterwards, walking home in the pouring rain, even though it's nothing compared to Scunthorpe. The pouring rain and saying like that it was a dreadful first half, and that I thought Ozil was in and out of the game quite a lot, and he did do some flicks and touches. And when I watched back a Match of the Day, which is edited, you could see that he was quite involved in that second half, and he did have a good performance. But like what Mike said, I think people have made more of his performance. He's had better performances for Arsenal and better performances for other teams. What did you make of the goal and his performance?
The goal is what we are. This is what Arteta, I imagine, is aspiring to. These are the type of goals that
is that the Arsenal way?
To score. Yeah. We've seen goals like that in the past under Wenger, and we've all enjoyed them, and we've wanted them ever since. And I think the way the team selection was the right team to score that type of goal. When you're going to have Xhaka who can pass, Ceballos, Ozil in the midfield, you're expecting the passing to be a bit better. And then we've got so much talent. We've got Saka, who's a left winger at left back, Pepe. We can score those types of goals because we've got the skill, we've got the talent, we've got the passing ability. So the fact that we did score that type of goal is definitely a positive, because it is something that we're hoping to see on a more regular basis next season under Arteta, who we were all excited about because he was a student of Pep Guardiola. We were obviously hoping that he brings some of that Pep style to Arsenal, and we saw a little sparkling of that against Newcastle, and we want more of it. So I really enjoyed it. And with Ozil, I think I've said on here before, I'm done with Ozil. I'm done. Like there's going to be times that he does something that's cool. All right. There's going to be a lot of times where he does nothing, and it does. I've got no more interest in, I don't think he's going to get any better. I don't think he's going to recapture his old form. I just think that he's going to have his moments, but the bottom line is I still think that he's a player that we want to move on, and we need to be looking to the future. So whatever, that's my thoughts on Ozil.
Boys, Jerome and James, Willock came on, and Willock and Pepe to Lacazette. Lacazette gets that all-important goal that he needed to get for his confidence. Yes, he needs a goal away from home more than anything else. But that what did you make of that goal? 4-0. Roy Keane said, "Oh, shocking, overrated, over the top." That's my Roy Keane impression. About the celebrations, what did you make of that whole goal, James? I'll go to you first.
Well, I think you could definitely see the relief on his face. You know, obviously he's a striker that harbours ambitions to also play international football, and he's in a very difficult selection along with France. And I think he just wanted to prove again that he can score goals. And I'm hoping now that he will that will kind of open the floodgates. But it's good to see a player show passion. It's good to see a player realise the responsibility he's got as a striker. You know, it's very difficult as a professional player to come abroad and to acclimatise to a new league, to a more physical league. And, you know, things take time. And I think that we'll see Lacazette now be a lot more positive in front of goal. I think we'll see him shooting more often, which will also be good. Be very interesting to see if he starts tomorrow in a very important game. And just very pleasing, really. First and foremost with the team performance and the 3 points, but also from his personal point of view to get that all-important goal as well.
Jerome, what did you make of Willock's performance? I know it was only short-lived, but what did you make of Willock's performance? Again, Pepe got the assist. Lacazette scuffed and kicked, but he got the goal.
Do you know what? I was happy with Lacazette getting a goal. I had to laugh at the finish because, you know what? It's by any means necessary. Great. You know what? That's what we want. That's what he needed. But I think what I loved the most about the goal was the team. After he scored, the way that every player near enough was there. They celebrated together. We haven't seen that much togetherness in the team. We're getting stronger and stronger. And this is what I think I want to see, because that's where we're getting the fight, the desire, the defensiveness, working it out, passes, flicks. It's all coming together because of that. And I think that's what I was most pleased to see more than anything, was just how they celebrated together. They all looked so happy for Lacazette. I think I love that more than anything.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree. Arteta was actually very complimentary of the team as itself, but also, in particular, he was asked after the game about Saka's performance, and he was extremely complimentary about him. But he also said he's a big project, so meaning that, like, you know, he's not finished. He's only starting. He's 18 years of age. He's playing like a senior, is the words he said. What did you guys think? I'll go around. I'll start with Mike. I'll work your way around. What did you think of Saka's overall performance? Is he the real deal? What happens when Tierney comes back?
Can I just start off quick by saying Roy Keane, he needs to shut the hell up. You know, he's still in the 90s. That lie, you know, he just needs to get his head out of his ass for a change, doesn't he?
Totally overrated.
You know what I mean?
Totally
Yeah, well, 33, and you know, it's probably wrong for me saying that, to be honest. I apologize.
You're all right.
Like I say, he needs to get his head out of his ass and just shut up. You know, he shouldn't even be a pundit, Roy Keane. Let's face it, he's garbage, isn't he? So he just needs to shut the hell up. So as we was getting on to Saka, in all fairness, he's causing a real major problem for choice, isn't he? Let's face it, he really is. The way he's playing at the moment at left back, he's causing some major issues there. He's going to cause some headaches for when Tierney is fit.
Who would you play first?
In all fairness, you can't drop someone who's playing that well. I'm sorry, you can't. As much as Tierney is not, as much as he's a left winger and not a left back, you can't argue with his professionalism. You know, he's been told to do a job, he's been told to go in there, and he hasn't come out since. You know, he hasn't even been replaced. Kolasinac was fit. He can't even get into the team because of him. So that tells you it there, doesn't he?
Kolasinac will be gone in the summer, I think, anyway. So
let's hope so anyway.
Corey, your thoughts on just brief 1 line or so, because we'll go into miles over a game that's been on 3 or 4 days ago. I don't know. But your thoughts on Saka's overall performance and the headache that Arteta has when Tierney comes back as fit.
Saka, I love him. I think he's a wicked player. And you can see the stability that he's got. He could just play anywhere pretty much. We've seen him, even under Emery, we've seen him play in the central midfield as well. So he's obviously shown stuff in training that he's got that versatility. So I think he's just a great player to have in the squad. When Tierney's back, I think you got to play Tierney. I want to see. I mean, if we've seen a big improvement with Saka under Arteta, I want to see what he's like with Tierney. You know, because Tierney was very good before. Let's see what Arteta could do with him, because it could be something even better at left back.
Jerome?
That's exactly where I'm at. As much as I like Saka going forward, I have the biggest thing of his defensive duties. We still, I still think he's weak defensively. He can get barged off the ball very easily. He doesn't go in for a challenge properly all the time. I don't know. Whereas Tierney, for me, will go in for a challenge. He will put it all in every single time. This is why he's injured half as much as he is. But I think I prefer that in a player. At my left back, sometimes I want my defender to defend. So for me, it's going to always be Tierney over Saka. But I feel that Saka does need to play on the left-hand side. I was thinking it might be a change of formation for Arteta. So he has got a problem.
I think it will. James, how would you change formation then to accommodate Tierney, Martinelli, Saka, Pepe? What needs to change within the side, or what will probably change in the summer? I'm leading you.
Well, I think the most pressing priority regarding Saka is there's only 18 months left on his current contract. And the latest reports that I've read that the likes of Bayern Munich, Liverpool and Manchester United are looking at him, and he's currently only earning £3,000 a week. So I think we need to really kind of nip that in the bud, because you don't want to have a situation where a young player full of talent falls by the wayside and gets snapped up by somebody else when he has got so much potential. I think it's important that we're also starting to get depth in certain positions now, whereas before we've always been a little bit light, especially on the bench, and being able to change a game. But it's good, and hopefully Arteta can mix and match different formations, because it's very important that the players that we've got in the squad now can be tactically flexible as well. Because going forward, if we're going to improve and get a higher league position and hopefully make inroads to winning silverware, we're going to have times where we're going to be up against it, and we've got to change and be proactive in that respect.
So I suppose the last thing to talk about that game was the declared attendance was 60,188. Well, I can guarantee you there was not 60,188 in that stadium.
There was a lot of empty seats.
For the love of God, like Jesus, why not just declare who's tapped in and who hasn't? It just becomes a joke in the end. Yes, they sold 60,000 tickets, but just declared. Yeah, let's move on. We don't want to talk for hours on that. The couple of things that we do want to talk about, and some of them interlinked to what James you said you want to talk about as well. Fifth is the new fourth. Man City. Could Man City's ban? I've got written down here Nan. I don't know what Man City's Nan's got to do with any of this, but Man City's ban mean that fifth place could be for Champions League football, or could it be the FA Cup? Is it time that can we push for fifth? Can we, or do we just push for the Europa League? Is it time we win a Europa trophy? James, go.
Well, first and foremost, you've got to remember last Sunday was only our 7th win in 26 Premier League games. And, it's great to get a win. Everybody's excited. Everybody's pleased. But we've also got to be realistic. And I think the teams in the top 4 and the top 5, I can't see them tailing off anytime soon. So I can understand the confidence and all of a sudden pushing forward for a potential 5th. But first and foremost, will the actual ban be ratified and confirmed as to will it happen? And also, we haven't won a European trophy for 26 years. Especially for the younger generation that's never seen Arsenal win a European trophy. I mean, I've been supporting the club for nigh on 30 years, and Copenhagen 94, even though I was very young, still remains one of my fondest memories. And I think that we've got a very difficult game against Olympiacos. They've fallen out of the Champions League. They're one of the toughest opponents we could have faced. But if you look at the history of this competition in particular, there's always a surprise team that reaches the final. In 2007, 17 here in Amsterdam Europa League final. 18 they reached the final in Lyon. You could argue that it was a surprise that Arsenal reached the final last year, and you only have to look at the last 32 fixtures to see there are some very good teams in that last 32. You look at the likes of FC Porto and Bayer Leverkusen, and even Sporting Braga doing very well in Portugal. So I know it sounds cliche, but I think we've just got to take it one game at a time. But I really do hope that we can push on and win our first European piece of silverware for 26 years.
Can we?
That's Inter Milan's trophy to lose, that one.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I think Inter Milan are going to walk it in the Europa League. They've got the squad, they've got the depth, they've got everything there. I think it's theirs to lose.
Corey, can we win? Can we win the? Can we win the Europa League? Listen, can we win this tie away to Olympiacos? As James just said, they are one of the toughest opponents. They've dropped out of the Champions League spots. So you got Ajax that have dropped there. Inter. Can we win this tie tomorrow night and again on the 27th of February? Can we win it on aggregate and get through?
Yeah, we could beat Olympiacos. We can. We've, last season in Europa, even when we didn't look great in the league, we looked good in the Europa League. It is sort of night and day, our form in the two competitions. So we can beat Olympiacos. We're definitely capable. You look at our team. We've got some good players there, but they do need to perform a lot better for us to get past this tie. And if we are talking about winning the whole thing, then a major improvement will need to happen before I can see that. We've got world-class strikers. We've got really good midfielders. We are a danger to any team on our day, but we haven't seen our day for a little while now. And,
a few years.
Yeah. So with that, thinking about our recent past, and I would say no, I don't think we can win the Europa League, but we can get to the next stage.
Okay, Jerome, this is Arteta's first European game in charge as a head coach, manager, whatever title you want to say, and he's got the Arsenal. He's gone away to Olympiacos. What's your thoughts? Ozil?
Tomorrow night's a problem purely because it's away. If his first game was at home, I would feel a little bit more confident with us playing them. But playing away, we don't have the greatest away form anyway. So to go away does slightly worry me. But it's a football game. Anything's possible. So I've always got the faith that we could still do it. We could play our football and go out there and dominate the game. So it's always possible. But it's just away form. And do the boys have the confidence in themselves to do it away this week?
We don't have Ozil traveling because his wife's having a baby, so he hasn't traveled for personal reasons, according to the website. But I've heard that it was. At first, I was going to jump on his back and go, "Oh yeah, here we go, another reason." But I've realised that his wife's having a baby. Trevor may fly out. He's got some sort of virus, not corona. He's been on the geese, and he's been on the soul. He stayed off the corona. So not corona. Shit joke, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a real dad joke.
Yeah. Hey, listen. If the cat fits.
Yeah. True.
So, predictions on tomorrow. What do we reckon, James? What's your score prediction? James?
My prediction tomorrow is 2-2. You also have to remember that this is an Olympiacos side who haven't lost in the Greek league so far this season. They've won 18. They've drawn, and I know with the Greek league, it's not the most difficult in the whole of Europe. But they've also got some excellent players. They've got Mathieu Balbuena, who the French midfielder, who also used to play for Marseille. I've spoken to a few players who've played against him, and when they've played against him, they've said about, he's got such a low centre of gravity that he turns really quick, and he can play some fantastic through balls, and is a very good player. Emre Mor as well, the Turkish player. He actually represented Denmark at youth level and then changed his allegiance to Turkey. But he's also a good player. And Bruno Gaspar, who had an experience with Sporting Lisbon in the past. So they've got some very good players. And, Olympiacos is an away day as well. It's well known for being a difficult away day. There are some teams, big teams in Europe. I mean, we're playing the biggest team of Greece tomorrow. And it's well known that their particular away day has always been a difficult place to go, regardless of stature. So I don't expect Arsenal to win tomorrow, but my prediction is 2-2.
Okay, Mike, prediction? Like, it's going to be a hostile place to go to.
I'm with Dave Atkinson, who's just put a comment on, which I'm going to go with. I'm saying 2-1 Arsenal as well. I'm going to go with him.
Corey, prediction?
We like a draw at Arsenal, don't we? So I'm going to go 1-1. We like a 1-1 draw, especially. So this time around, I won't mind it in an away match. So yeah, 1-1.
And finally, our MC. What's your prediction?
I had 1-1 as well. That's the funny part about it.
Jerome, man, get original, man.
But the worst part is that the doubter in me feels with our away form, going away to Olympiacos, I feel that they could sneak a 2-1. But unfortunately, I feel that a 1-1 is realistic. That's my honest truth.
I'm exactly with you, Jerome. I'm hoping if we can keep it 1-1, it would be fantastic. And I know it's a draw and another draw, and it means nine games and 8 draws. But I do think maybe because it's a bit hostile and they're a tough opposition, the away goal is important. Whatever happens, we need to keep it within 1 goal, and we need to score an away goal. So
God, you guys are so uninspiring.
I will go for a 1-1. But even if we lose, as long as it's 2-1 or 3-2 or something, we need the away goals.
Oh, ball draws.
That's what Mike. That's what we got used to recently. So, listen, there's a couple of other things we're going to talk about. I've got some bits and pieces about the Arsenal supporters forum meeting that Dave Hurl gladly shared with me. But before we do that, James, you mentioned to me and mentioned to us earlier that you do this for World Soccer Index. You do some sports writing and interviews and stuff like that, and do some blogs and so on. But in particular, you interviewed former Arsenal player and England player, I believe, Viv Anderson. Give us a couple of minutes talking about that.
Yes, that's correct. Viewers that don't know, and people on the panel, I've been interviewing professional players and managers for around about the last 3.5 years now, and it's been going really, really well. I've interviewed on Football Index more than 120. So the likes of Danny Cowley, for example, and Graham Potter, and the legend is Arsenal's Bob Robson. With former Arsenal player Anderson, with other things about his time at Arsenal, where he stated that when George Graham first came in, that he was originally offered a contract by Arsenal and he had the opportunity to stay. But he had a history with Manchester United, where he would, during the summer, he would go and train up with the Manchester United schoolboys. And by his own admission, if it wasn't for the fact that Manchester United came in for him, he would have left. It was the pull of Manchester United, and he really wanted to go. And viewers can find my interviews on worldfootballindex.com. And they can also follow me on @JamesRowe. And I think I've lost other members of the panel, so I'm trying to be as professional as possible. And I believe we're still recording as well.
We are all here, mate.
We're still recording as well. And because I obviously I didn't see the other members of the panel, it fell away for a minute. So I'll continue. But yeah, because very lucky to be in such a position. Very lucky to be in such a position, and for me, it's just about producing quality. I mean, I never imagined when I started that I'd speak to the likes of, for example, Danny Cowell and being based here in the Netherlands, the likes of Martijn de Loos, who's played for Ipswich, and Ricky van Rollerswinkel, who's now currently at Basel. And the most everybody the same. I always say, guys, that everybody's got a story to tell. Like today, this afternoon, I spoke to a Lincoln City loanee, Liam Bridcutt, who has a history among others, Brighton, Leeds and Nottingham Forest. And it was very interesting to hear his thoughts about Lincoln City. And you get to hear some really interesting anecdotes from players. And to give one, obviously Champions League kicked off last night and Dortmund won. And Dortmund have a very good manager in Lucien Favre. And I interviewed the American international Fabian Johnson when he back. And we spoke about Lucien Favre. And he told me a very interesting anecdote where one day they're training, and he obviously is a defender, and they're making defensive drills, playing the ball out of defense and training with his teammates. And all of a sudden he hears Lucien Favre telling him in specific his right foot and to use his left foot, to which he thought, does it really matter? But he soon realised that in small margins and small areas of the pitch, right foot, you get the ball under control and you can play the ball out of defence and relieve the pressure on the defence. And he was saying about the attention to detail that Lucien Favre has. I mean, I watched his played here in Amsterdam against Ajax, and they were very easy on the eye. They were extremely easy on the eye, but obviously that was only on the basis of one game that I've seen them play live. But he's got Dortmund playing very well. They're on for they've got an opportunity to win the Bundesliga. They would like to think in the last 8 of the Champions League. So it provides me with a lot of interesting anecdotes. But I always come from a position of wanting the reader to know something they didn't know before. It's always
James,
something that I strive for.
You obviously get the opportunity to speak to lots of different players and lots of different people involved in sport. Are you able to get in touch with many of the Arsenal squad and youth squad currently? If anybody, that you can give us couple of sentences of insight, and then we'll move on to the next bit.
You mean you fell away there, Fergus? Do you mean here at Ajax in Amsterdam?
No, you don't get you do all your stuff is done via Amsterdam then, yeah? I think we lost you.
No, I
think we're struggling with your connection. Yeah.
Yeah, can you repeat what you said? You fell away.
I was just wondering, do you get to speak to any, say, like, especially over maybe in Amsterdam, are there any Arsenal loanees or youth players that you get to speak to? Any Arsenal-related players that you get to speak to?
Yeah, well, as I say, there's been so many, and I don't mean that in an arrogant sense. You know, you can check on the link of my Twitter at James Rowanell to my author page on World Football Index. One that does stick out is the Danish youth defender Jakob Rasmussen. I spoke to him when he was at Empoli, and subsequently he's now at Fiorentina, I believe. And he was speaking in particular about youth football and how playing for the Danish youth international side really helped him. And he's one player to look out for, and there's a few others too. But you come into contact with so many that you just try to arrange them in the best way you can. And with 3.5 years experience now, there's some that you can refer back to, but also obviously with the depth and everything, it's nice to follow a player or a managerial career. Like for example, Peter Hibala, who was the coach at Dortmund in the youth for the youth. He trained Rudiger at Chelsea. I spoke to him when he was at his last club in Slovakia. And he recently became manager of NAC Breda here in the Netherlands, and it's the former loan club of Pablo Mari, who was captain of NAC Breda when he was here. And they've reached the cup semi-final. And it was nice to congratulate him on his move, and it was nice to get a nice message back as well. So it really does give a nice feeling to watch
Well,
how the players and managers that you interview, how they grow. And
can
you
I,
know, the
can
likes
I,
of Danny Cowley as well, when he went to I spoke to him when he was Lincoln manager. He's now manager of Huddersfield Town.
yeah,
So
he's doing
yeah,
well.
it's really good, but you just try to remain as professional as possible at
No,
all
no,
times.
absolutely. And the Cowley brothers, I think, will do really well. You talked about congratulating people. Congratulations on all your pronunciations, because I know I would have absolutely butchered every single one of those along the way. People who listen and know will know I butchered it. Listen, the insight you gave us there was really good. I had some insight from Dave Hurl, who's in the chat as well. Dave is a member, and he represents the family enclosure. He's a member of the Arsenal Supporters Forum, and there was a meeting on not last night, a night before. So what's that? Monday night. And they discussed lots of things, and some of the stuff that I would like to talk about in the Goon debate. We've only got like 10, 15 minutes left. So talk about that. Some of the snippets he came along about was rail seating. There's a big talking point about rail seating. We're much further ahead than anybody else in the league, apparently, on rail seating. And that announcement that Man United came out with in the paper just came totally out of the blue. Liverpool won't do anything until it's decided it's going ahead. Chelsea are doing nothing in case they get a new stadium. There's lots of ideas. Rail seating will not increase the capacity at the Emirates Stadium, because the exits still remain the same size, and the whole stadium itself is designed to be able to empty the stadium within 8 minutes in the event of emergencies. Guys, Jerome, what's your thoughts on rail seating? Do you think it should go in? Where should it be? All the lower tier? Should it be the cop ends? What do you think?
I don't know. When it comes to rail seating, I think it's. I don't know if I'm for it or against it yet. I still don't. I'm undecided, so that's the problem with it for me.
Really?
Yeah, why have I got to have one? Why can't I have the option? I'm one of those.
No, rail seating gives you the option.
I haven't seen it properly.
Safe option. I don't know if you've seen it in Germany and in Dortmund and places like that. You have Tottenham actually already have it in place, but it's not formally. But basically, there's a bar in front of your seat, so you wouldn't get pushed forward and go and fall on top of the other person. But your seat can be locked in place. So in Dortmund, the wall in a Champions League game, I believe, holds about 10,000 fans. 10,000 fans, because they have to have seating, the seating option. But in Dortmund, because of the way they've designed the stadium, if they want, they can have up to 20,000 in the yellow wall, where they can cram in more people, because they can get 1.5 people per seat. But they're safe, and if there was a surge forward, there's a rail on the way, and it stops you getting folding in on top of the next person. So that's the idea, and that's the idea of why they talk about rail seating. It's not the old terraces, and it does give you the option. If you want to unlock your seat, you can sit down. Corey, thoughts?
It would mean that people could stand, and I think everybody likes to stand when they go to a match. You even have a little rail to like hold on to, if your legs ain't as strong as they used to be, Fergus. So, yeah, why not? Like, we've seen it at Tottenham, we've seen it at like Wolverhampton. They got it. It's a safety measure. It means you're allowed to stand up with no stewards or anyone telling you to sit back down. So I say give it a shot.
Mike, you've experienced the North Bank as it is. How many people do we get in one seat?
Am I allowed to say this out loud?
we don't mention which seat.
I've seen. I haven't done it myself. I have seen about 3 or 4 people in one seat.
Yes.
No, I'm all for it, because I go to a lot of away games as well, and it's the same there. The only time you ever really see people sitting down is during the halftime break, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, everyone's on the feet.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely all for it.
I think as well they need to, on the back of that, do stuff with like the Ashburton Army, do stuff with maybe relocating the away fans so they're closer to maybe the North Bank, and just helping that to help the atmosphere within the stadium. One of the things that did come out about in that meeting was there are some people within block 26 is the clock end just above the family enclosure, and that's where the Ashburton Army generally congregate, and Jack and his guys there doing a really good job trying to build something with the youth. They're all 17 to 20 years of age, and they're trying to build flags, drums, bouncing. I don't know if you might have seen on Facebook some of the some of the footage that people have taken, and it looks really, really good. Sorry, 1 second. Mike Feinberg, you can talk about my pronunciation as much as you like. It's rail seating, not rail seating.
It's not even rail seating, it's rail.
Yeah, no, rail seating. Look, I'm Irish.
Real. Trains go on. A rail.
I'm Irish. Okay, I'm Irish. Listen, and Mike as well. I gave you I was on the Guna podcast. Mike has actually admitted he is the host of the Guna podcast along with Andy. He is the size of the family enclosure. I can vouch for that because I have seen a picture of him with a dolphin, and I thought he was going to eat the dolphin all in one mouthful.
Wow.
So if you want to jump on YouTube and look at the first 4 or 5 minutes of the podcast from last night, you'll see that. Yeah. But the block 26 guys, there's some old boys jumping in on the back of it, and they're all trying to either argue with the young lads who are trying to do stuff, or just getting too pissed and they're interfering. We need to support them, and the club in conjunction with that and the rail seating, it would be a good thing to combine the two things together and maybe enhance the atmosphere within the stadium. Other things that talked about was season tickets. Apparently, season ticket prices are going to be frozen next year. Obviously, an adjustment depending if we get Europa League, Champions League, or nothing. And more pop-up outlets that, like, you got the Camden Ale things in. There's going to be more pop-up outlets for food and drink. One thing that is really interesting is 1970, 1971. 71 has obviously been the best year. The 50th anniversary of the double, our first double. First double since 35, I think. But yeah, the 50th anniversary of the 70-71. There is going to be a celebration for that. Do you get over, James, for any games? Do you?
Hello? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can. Do you get over for many games? Would you, if there was a special event for the 50th anniversary, would you come over for that?
You're falling away, Fergus. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah.
Hello?
Lads, any of you three, if there was something going on in and around the stadium for the 50th anniversary, I know none of you are nearly 50. I am. Would any of you do something special for the? Would you turn up for celebrations around the stadium and like fireworks or whatever like that? Would you turn up?
Well, obviously it depends. I mean, I can understand the idea of arranging special events in and around the stadium, but I'd like to think that many different countries there's also cultural differences. Like, for example, we spoke about railed seating tonight, and they have that here in Amsterdam in the Stadium of Ajax in the Johan Cruyff Arena. They have that where the ultras stand. And I think different countries have different ways of celebrating games, and I think Arsenal, we can do an awful lot to improve our atmosphere. We really could. And I think also our chants are quite good, but we could also be a lot more innovative and a lot more creative with our chants and really get behind the team. I mean, obviously when I go to watch games every now and again from here in Amsterdam, I normally go into the clock ends, and away fans is a guilty pleasure and a bit of a laugh and a joke. But, I also respect that there are some fans that don't want to sing for 90 minutes. So you made a great point about the different blocks, maybe having a block where designated fans would sing and chant and shout. And I think that could be a very innovative idea.
Corey, you've been sitting there very quiet. What's your thoughts? You're very reflective man there in your sharps jumper and shirt. I'm glad you make the effort to join the show.
You're welcome. So what about the celebration for the anniversary?
Yeah, the 50th anniversary. If there was something going on, okay, it might be hard to get into the stadium itself, but there might be a whole weekend of stuff. Would you make a trip down around the stadium and get involved?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? Yeah. Look. As long as if there's the lads are there, if there's drink, if you can sing, then hey, I'm there. Do you know what I mean? It don't take a lot.
If those three things aren't there, I ain't going.
Yeah, exactly. So give me some booze, yeah. You know what I mean? A nice crowd of people, so a good atmosphere. I'm there. You don't even have to do anything special. You don't have to, I don't need any special talks from ex-players or anything like that. If you really want to provide some free booze, Arsenal, and then I'm definitely there, because, who doesn't love that? So,
listen, some of the other things they talked about on there was season tickets being transferred onto your phone, so you can tap in and tap out using your phone, or your Red membership and stuff. So some innovation. They talked about Santi Cazorla as well, doing a testimonial game for Santi Cazorla, but Raul said he's in discussions with Santi about it, but nothing would happen until Santi's retired, because obviously he's got his commitments with his current club. And Lundberg's role is to do more with transition from the under 23s to the first team, and seeing who's good enough to train with the first team, and who's good enough if they're not quite there, who's going to be loaned out. Mike, do you think that's a good role for him?
Well, it's quite similar to what he was doing before, wasn't it, when he was coaching the under-23s, or just So it's not a far off role from what he was already doing. So yeah, I'm all for that. And can I just say something as well about the Ashburton Army as well?
Yes,
I think, to be fair, the problem that we've got is Arsenal fans moan a lot, and I think it's about time that we need the moan of the fact that there's no what do they call it, atmosphere at the Emirates. And when someone tries to, or a group tried to start an atmosphere, and they moan about that, so it's like, well, you can't moan about one and then moan about the other just because that's happening.
Mike.
So yeah, can I borrow your mic, Jerome, mate? Yeah, you can't moan about one and then moan about when it starts getting an atmosphere, you can't moan about that. So just calm it down.
I 100% agree. If you don't want to sing and you want to come on, just don't sing. Go sit in the uppers. Go sit in the west wings, east wings, whatever you want. But if you want to sing and you want to enjoy and get involved in it, get involved. For the last game, I actually had no voice on Monday because we're close to losing our 49 undefeated reign. Okay, which for me is very important. Is one of the I got to see us win the double in '98, and you got to see something. But I was a later comer to Arsenal, and you talk about Copenhagen. Copenhagen was that very first game. I know it was the Naeem game. Was the first game I actually watched with my son when he was little. So I haven't seen us win a European trophy. I haven't. Witnessed that, and I've witnessed some good things under the Wenger eras and so on. But but Wenger, whatever, it doesn't matter, Scummy, just behave. but if you want to sing. If you don't. But don't bloody moan about people who want to get involved. People like the Ashburton Army who want to make some noise and stuff like that. If you don't like a drum, move to another area. If you don't want to, give your ticket away to somebody else who actually wants to turn up. That's what my view would be.
Well, the thing is, there's that many bloody seats empty, so you might as well just move anyway. Don't matter where you move.
Yeah. For me, For me, the singing part is I went to football to sing with my friends, to have a good fun and cheer on my team. So if I'm not singing, I might as well sit at home. So it bugs me when people don't want other people to sing. You might as well watch it from your TV.
Jerome, the 49-49 undefeated, I sang first half and second half continuously with me, Potsy, Dan Gurning. There's about a dozen of us that sang it. We annoyed a lot of people, but we just kept on going and going and going. And when
I dread to have these fans. Sorry, Fergus, I'm going to say I dread to have these fans go to an away game where there's non-stop singing. I witnessed that at Chelsea, and it was
when you're down, Mike.
15 minutes.
Come and sit with me. Every week I argue with one fella. He complains if you shout anything. I'm like, why are you here? So there are them there. Why are you here? A guy was shouting at Ozil. He's like, you're giving me a headache. Go home.
Yeah.
You're in a football stadium.
Occasionally, though, Jerome, it depends on what people are shouting. I've got one guy behind me who just was shouting obscenities and crap for no reason. And then you have to pull him up.
Okay. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And like, you know, I'm fine with, you know, it's industrial language at football. We're fine with all that. But I had my grandson with me, and even he turned around and come along. Oh Christ, that's a bit strong, isn't it? And like, you know, he's 11.
It could be worse. When I was sat near you, Fergus, some guy didn't shut up and singing Aubameyang. I just couldn't get on with it. It was doing my head in. I was ready to flip out. I really was. I wonder who it could have been.
We should all be getting together like that. We should be just singing it together. The crowd should be in unity. There's no unity in our singing, and that's because some people want to sing, some people can't be bothered. Then they only want to sing, turning into plastic fans. A lot of them just only singing because we're winning. You know,
boys,
we need to get them out.
We have we've covered a lot actually, and it's been good having you on, James. Good to have your insight into more than just Arsenal, just about football in general and so on. Corey,
thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it. Great points made by all, and I look forward to next time.
Excellent. We will have you on again soon. Don't you worry. Jerome.
Thanks for having me. Have a good evening. Hopefully we have a good win tomorrow.
I'm doing a Corey.
You're not looking sharp enough, mate.
Yeah. Don't worry, Fergus. Keep at it. You'll get it.
Yeah. Corey, I haven't taken the piss. Thank you very much for joining us.
No worries, man.
Scunny, as always, thanks for doing the work in the background. To everybody in the chat, I thank you. Thank you for joining in, and thank you for sharing. Make sure you subscribe if you're on YouTube. We're on Periscope now. I don't know how that works. I'm going to have a look afterwards. Jerome, I will give you the pleasure of saying the closing line and then dropping the mic. You're going to be on. You're going to be on. You're going to be on. Pick the mic up. You went too early.
It's got a bit premature.
Yeah, a little bit premature there.
That's what I've never heard that before.
That's what she said.
I'm going to put you on solo screen, and then you can say the closing line, and then we're out.
Up the arse.
That didn't work.